What's up, YouTube? This is Ice, and you are watching the Ice to Closer channel. I want to thank you all for your support. We have hit 200 subscribers, and like I always say at the end of the video, it is a movement, and we are moving. So thank you so much for all of the subscribers. A couple of new subscribers I actually met in person over the past few weeks, and you guys decided to subscribe after meeting me, so that really does mean a lot to me that you rock with me like that. I'm gonna jump right into the video. This is my first ride after crashing. I crashed on a Saturday, and this is the Saturday a week from that Saturday, so this is also a Saturday. The day that I crashed, I did try to fix what was wrong with my bike. My shift lever was out of place, so I had to bend it back in place, and I did actually watch a YouTube video that helped me tremendously, and it didn't require any super special tools or anything like that, so I'll put that in the description below. And I was able to rotate the clutch back into place, which at least the low level way that I did it was to just rotate the base of the mirror, and that mechanism the clutch is on as well. So I was able to get the bike back rideable, and I did test it out that night, of course. Even though my ankle wasn't feeling that good, I tested it out. My ankle had swollen quite large by the next day. So again, crashed on Saturday. On Tuesday, I tried riding. I ended up riding like 4 minutes down the road, and I realized my ankle just hurt too much. It hurt moving my foot below and above the shift lever, which is a problem because you could shift probably over 1,000 times on a normal ride. So definitely not doing well in the first 4 minutes, and I had to bring it back home. But I also was not able to really ride that week because I was just icing and trying to heal up my ankle. I have done some research and been testing my ankle out and stuff. I do believe it was a high ankle sprain, so that's a minimum of about 6 weeks for a full recovery. I believe I am on week 3 or 4, so we are definitely trying to gain flexibility and strength in it now. I'm also working on icing it again. I did a very good job the first 2 weeks of icing and elevating, but since then I need to do a better job with icing. So hopefully I can get back to running, because I do want to start playing basketball more. It may have some new content on the channel in the next few months, so there's a heads up about that. But all that time that I spent icing and resting, not being able to ride, like I mentioned in the last video, hitting that ground is not a fun feeling, and it's something that definitely sticks with you, because the ground really hurts. And that may sound obvious, but it's hard to properly explain how the ground feels. And I play football and basketball and stuff like that, so I know how it feels to fall on a hard surface, but to fall on concrete at 20 miles an hour is a bit of a different feeling. And as you saw in the last video, I just kind of stayed on the ground a bit once I saw that my bike was off and not going to blow up. So I did have a lot of time to kind of sit in my thoughts and be wondering, why did I crash? And once I figured out it was my foot that crashed, or it was my foot, the misplacement of my foot that put me in a position to crash the bike, because my foot dragged on the ground and the bike rolled over it essentially, then I really wanted to go right back out and kind of address that issue. One, to kind of prove to myself that I'm fine and I'm good, and also to just kind of get back on the saddle, so to speak. That's been one of my theories and ideals, really, is like when you fall off, just get back up, get back on. That way you don't have time to sit there and let it defeat you. And I believe it's Mike Tyson who said everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And actually falling off is getting punched in the face. So because I wasn't able to get right back on necessarily, other than riding at home, and you can ride at home typically because you still have the adrenaline, but when you get to rest a couple days and think about, wow, like I crashed and this is how my body feels, it does make you wonder, like, is this worth it? Is this something I really want to do? There were, like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it's very easy from what I have seen, for men to not necessarily be honest with their feelings and emotions and stuff, but we're not gonna have that on this channel. We're gonna be transparent, like I've always said. I did have feelings of, like, maybe I should quit this. Maybe it ain't worth it. I wonder how much I could get for selling my bike. I'm sure if I sell or if I get a new shift lever and get the clutch replaced or whatever, I could sell it, or maybe more than I got it, because I got a pretty good deal on it. That came through my mind. I was like, oh, maybe I'll switch up the YouTube channel. All these things came through my mind. And I was praying about it. And I was like, well, I do feel like God gave me this opportunity, and that He'll protect me. And I don't feel like, I'm doing this out of order of God from what I've, talked to God about. So that was going through my mind, but still, I didn't think I was really going to quit. But I did have some anxiety when it came to what will it be like when I ride again. I remember thinking that I was going to have to kind of restart when it came to leaning, because I thought I wasn't going to trust myself with leaning. And I thought it was going to be like when I first started, where you lean a little bit and you get more comfortable, you lean a little bit, you get more comfortable. I really couldn't imagine going back out and riding how I did before I crashed, which is so interesting. And that's why I said I'll explain the ride that you're looking at right now. I woke up on Saturday. This ride is unfortunately a ride to commemorate someone who rode locally, and they traumatically lost their life, not to riding, but they still traumatically lost their life. And so we were trying to support the family, and I do want to ask everyone watching this to pray for the family and the people that survived him, so that they will be comforted as well, and protected too. But I had been looking at doing this ride for months at this point. It had been postponed 1 or 2 times for rain, and I was like, of course, when the ride actually comes up, I'm hurt, I can't do it. The ride was supposed to start at 1 p.m. on this Saturday. I was still in bed at 1:20 p.m. just resting and relaxing, and really in my thoughts about just a bunch of things going on in life. And boss calls me and is like, what you doing? We have a shirt for you. We're here. Where you at? And I'm not gonna lie, that woke something up inside of me. And at that moment, it was no longer me thinking about crashing. It was no longer me thinking about anything else other than, it was almost kind of like an identity moment, and not trying to be too dramatic or anything, but it really was almost like one of those defining moments of shoot, this is what I do. I've already prayed about it. I've talked to God about it. I did that intensively and extensively far before I got the motorcycle. Ironically, this is boss right here. And so as you can see, I rode with her a bit, especially in the beginning of the ride. But the thought came to my head, this is what I do, and I'm gonna get up and get dressed, and I'm going on this ride. And so I limped my tail to get dressed, got there in about 25 minutes, and somehow the ride ended up leaving an hour after we were supposed to, which was just in time for me to get there, get my shirt on, get on this ride. And I have not looked back since. I did take an Advil before I left to help out with the ankle a bit. Like I said, I wasn't able to walk that well, but I felt fine when I was actually riding, and everything came back naturally. I remember the first turn I took, I was halfway through the turn when I was like, oh shoot, I'm supposed to be warming up, and all my instincts came back. And yeah, I'd only been riding for about 3 months, but I've ridden, I think 3,000, 4,000 miles, and I've just been working really hard at it. So my instincts came back, and I felt great being back out there, and it was really just a beautiful moment. But it was also a surreal moment to still remember just how dangerous motorcycle riding can be in the midst of being in a group of 50, 60 riders, the most I'd ever been with, and seeing the camaraderie too. So you still recognize that when you fall. I do think it helps you respect the bike a bit better. But for people who have fallen in anything, whether it's motorcycle riding, or you fell off a horse, or you got in a car accident, or metaphorically you fell in life or something, even if you decide, okay, this is no longer for me, because one thing you cannot do is get back and be fearful. That's not going to help you. That's going to make everything worse, especially for a motorcycle, which responds sensitively to your inputs. You have to be loose on a motorcycle, and in most things you have to be loose and relaxed. That actually shows mastery of a craft, is when you can excel in a relaxed fashion. You cannot be afraid. You cannot go out there afraid. And if you have that, you're going to have to get over it, either by doing it and just moving past it, or I would of course suggest praying about it and being okay, is this for me? If it's not for you, then that's okay. Still work on removing the fear of it, so it doesn't own you, but then move on to something else. But don't let it stop you in life. I think if we can go through our adversities and the times we fall, get back up, be honest with ourselves. Don't lie to yourself. Like, oh, I'm not scared. If you know you're scared, you scared. You know, if we can work on that. We're all human. And then get back on the horse, get back on the saddle, whatever it is, and uh, don't let it defeat you mentally. Because if it defeats you, it's not going to defeat you as much physically as it will mentally. With that said, I pray you guys have a great week, and I will see you next week. Peace.